But I've been to toilets where they've used abstract.
In Bombay, no? They were
Many-
very stylish. They tried to be very stylish.
There's one restaurant I went to in Andheri where they didn't have male, female. They had a semicolon and colon. Now, what do I do?
Did it have anything to do with
And
the colon?
they also didn't know which one was the gents and ladies.
The people who were
Yeah.
working there.
Yeah. They said, कहीं भी चले जाओ सर.
जाओ. आपका कोलन है, हाँ, इनका भी कोलन है, दोनों का कोलन है ना, सेमी है या फुल, आप जाओ.
Punctuation based gender है. आराम से चले जाओ. Hi Kunal.
Hi, Pal.
How are you?
I'm good. Good. I'm well. I was at the farm the couple of days.
Yeah. You sometimes go away to a rural part of Maharashtra to unwind, to farm.
While I was there, we had a hailstorm. There was ice falling from the sky. And
Localized, like a cloud
it was
above
localized.
your house.
Well, not
that
exactly,
yeah,
not like
yeah.
they do in the cartoons.
Yeah,
It was in the whole area that got hail. But we got these little pieces of ice that fell from the sky. And I have never experienced this. I mean, it happens in Maharashtra, but I have never experienced it in Bombay.
Yeah.
And close to Bombay. I haven't experienced it. But apparently it has happened a few times in the last 30, 40 years. But we had actual ice falling from the sky.
What happens is, I think, in summer, the earth gets so hot between 8 o'clock and 3 o'clock that the Indian cloud, the cloud around 4 o'clock, the thick cloud that's formed, just goes mad. You know, I'm going to burst. I'm just going to burst. I'm just going to burst all over you. There's going to be ice. There's going to be water. There'll be 3 men named Girish that will fall out of me. And so the Indian cloud that goes mad.
Yeah.
In Cal, it's called the Kalboishaki.
Oh, there's a name for
Between
it.
3 and 6 in the evenings, in the months of April and May,
It's just doing poo.
there's like a 5-minute insane storm.
Right, it's exactly that. It was
Very
that.
localized.
It was like a 45-minute, but
Yeah.
it was a short one. It just came and left.
Yeah.
Very localized.
Yeah. And the thing is that you could be on an aeroplane in a very sunny sort of part of it, and you could see that cloud just lit like a cartoon.
Yeah.
Like wreaking havoc on one neighborhood.
Correct.
Where it's, mad, like snow, flash flood. Just think of it, like just anything.
It's literally like those cartoons, where the cloud is following you and then you step to the side and then there's nothing and then you step back and it's raining. It was pretty much.
There's a
like
cartoon
that.
like that.
Many.
It's like that.
Yeah.
Oh, there are quite a few like that. It's just, but it's literally that localized. But in that localized thing,
It's crazy.
yeah, like your houses can get washed away.
Yeah.
Just absolutely mad. Because I
Climate
think
change. We're really messing up this planet, I think. I think it's got something to do with climate
But
change.
imagine, it's nobody's fault. Just how mad do you get in this heat?
Anything, I mean,
So
suddenly.
imagine how mad that grey
Cloud.
cloud. Because it started out as a white cloud
Yeah.
at 9 in the morning. By 3, its color has changed.
Change.
It's just losing its
To
shape.
file my taxes. It's bloody.
EC is not working.
These tariffs they're putting on me for coming and going. What is going on over here?
I'm going to be my own AC. And just poof.
Ice.
Yeah.
But then I was driving back. I drove back as I normally do.
Yeah.
And what struck me this time a little more was a lot of the signage on the roads. And I
Yeah.
wanted to discuss that with you.
Yeah.
There are a lot of speeding signs. You've
Yes.
seen these signs, right?
Many, all over.
So you have a few that you remember?
Yeah, like the normal ones, speed thrills but kills.
Yeah.
That's I've
There
seen
was
that
one that said, if you're married, divorce speed.
because the guy who wrote it, he wrote if you're married, and he needed to tell you don't speed. So he needs something with marriage and speed.
Divorce.
Correct. Speed.
Speed.
And then the thing is, but you are fascinated by the authors
Because I wanted to know, like, the guys who sit around and say, "Go gentle on my curves." I mean, these are a
That's
lot of
one
these.
you've actually
That's one I've
seen.
seen,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's on a more windy road. I've
Yeah.
seen.
Where?
Go gentle,
Like a
on the
Bombay, Pune
mountains. Yeah, on the
mountain.
mountains.
Yeah.
Like going up to
Yeah.
Mahabaleshwar. There'll be a few of these.
This is a team of writers.
This is a team. So my thought was like, and this was something that my daughter actually said, that is it a room full of dads who just sit and Indian dads and uncles
Yeah.
who just sit together and come up with signage.
Yeah.
So is it like annually they just come together and they say, what are the signs? And then, like now there's a new highway coming out. Let's write up some signs. So it's like a room full of
like a comedy writer's room.
like a
Saturday
writer's
Night
room.
Live.
Like a writer's room. But of dads only.
Yeah.
Only writing speeding signage.
Hired by the highway authority. That we need signs. There's one I used to see a lot going up mountains like Darjeeling, Coimbatore. Coimbatore, you go up to any of those Kunur.
Correct.
Like mind the bend, love thy neighbor. There was another like that, but not while driving or something.
Love thy neighbor, not as in like don't start snogging while driving,
Yeah.
basically.
Now,
See, these are not all bad. What I'm
No.
saying is that I have a great affection for dad jokes. These are not all bad, but they end up being sometimes more distracting.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of people can have an accident just reading this thing.
Yeah.
Love thy neighbor. What the fuck? So you're thinking, like, is it really helping? Because you're driving at a normal speed,
yeah.
and then suddenly someone's talking about curves and all that stuff. It's a little bit distracting. So you're like, fucking go.
Now that you're
gentle, oh my
talking
God.
about it, it's actually a very difficult kind of writing
It is.
because you don't want to get carried away.
You don't want the person to be in too much thought about this line.
Because, like, let us say some guy writes, in life you don't want to fall. I have big balls. Like, you don't want.
Right.
So there's got to be somebody in the municipal corporation of the Kunur Highway Authority double checking some of the, because they're like gentle rakhna sir, just loose rakhna.
Yeah. It should come and go in a flash.
I think what we want is what the rejected signs were.
What are the ones that didn't make it?
Yeah. What are the ones that were written in a fervor, but that did not get on the highway?
So should we create a room?
I think
the comment should be a room
that, or
of
we
just
find
this.
Uncle, because whatever they've written is better than anything we would have come up with.
Correct.
If you go too fast, it may be your last. I would do well because I have a bad sense of humor.
So you're saying that there
That's
is
what audiences
a
say.
good career option for you.
Yeah, because sometimes audiences say you're shit, you're terrible. So then where can I take, and I'm getting to that age also. I'm nearly 50 in that Indian uncle age. So I'm trying to find acceptance. And I feel like this dad humor, there has to rhyme.
Yes.
Fast last,
There's one that also said better to arrive late than to never arrive. Or
That's
something
good
like
also.
that. Yeah.
Because that guy's a maverick. He broke the rhyming pattern.
Correct. He just used that the word twice. In poetry you can do that also.
Yeah. So do you think these are like shairi sessions?
It is.
So they write them, then they stand up one by one, they recite.
Ilfaz.
Mr. Kapur, aap boliye.
Yeah. Arz kiya hai. Go gentle. No.
Yeah, it's that. It's that.
It's that.
It's better to arrive late. Huh? Wah, wah, wah.
Wah,
Then
wah, wah.
never arrive. Speaking of long drives, I've got a conundrum.
Yeah.
When you're driving back from the Bombay Pune Expressway, there is a very now quite modern, sophisticated, I guess what would you call it? A rest stop.
A food court.
A food court, a place to fill oil, eat different kinds of food, etc. And I guess the Americans would call it a highway rest stop, that kind
Whatever.
of. It's got many, many restaurants. And next to the toilet, there is an adult diaper changing room. Big letters. And there's a photo of two very nice looking older models, man and woman. right? Yeah, just smiling, and they're just holding each other.
But they're not in the act of changing diapers.
No.
They're just holding each
There are
other.
trees behind them.
Right.
It's a big photo. They're standing like this, husband, wife. And my question is, obviously their photo was taken by some agency and saying, sir, it will be used for commercial use.
Stock photo.
So stock photo, Getty Images, we're taking a stock photo. Were they told that they would be used as adult diaper models?
Probably not. Probably not. So I think that's the thing that many times when you do these photo shoots, it's just stock photo. It's just going to go into stock. It's going to be part of an archive, and then someone can just buy a photo of old couple, and then you just get this so many, so many ₹1,000 or whatever it is. You pay for it. But those models, I think that when they sign off on their whatever the fee they got for the ad,
which will be a small amount.
it'll be a tiny amount.
But they don't know that this has gone up in an adult toilet.
So I'm saying that now they may or may not be of the age where they need to use adult diapers. They might never require
They may be
it.
perfectly
They might
fit.
be perfectly healthy and complete control over bowels. But still they'll be seen, especially
Yeah.
within their own family circles.
Yeah, uncle, we saw you.
We saw you. You're that. We saw you, uncle. It'll be like that. So then it's an embarrassing situation.
Yeah.
So
Where
then
do you
have
see
to
me? Where do you see
clarify.
me? Arey, no, in that Bombay
There's
Pune
a-
Expressway,
yeah,
you're there,
you're
na?
there.
Big photo is there.
But that's not nice for them.
Then they'll come and thrash someone. They'll
Correct.
say, "Kya bol raha hai, man? My bowels are perfectly fine." They might get damn pissed having their thing. And my conundrum was that, do you know where your photos are?
No.
This is what I mean.
No.
You could be like wanted in El Salvador. Like, you don't know where some of your photos are being misused. You're a public figure.
Well,
Are you in a toilet?
is my face
Like
as-
men, women,
Right.
sometimes. And this comes to another side conundrum
Right.
that our producer brought up. Men, women.
Yeah.
Like, how do you know that right now in Ghansoli,
Yeah.
there is not a restaurant called Annapurna Cafe, whose toilet under men has your photo
I mean, I
and
don't.
under women has Indira Gandhi's photo. She also hasn't
Possible.
consented.
She also hasn't consented. But I'm saying that I don't mind. I don't mind.
You're a generous sort of guy.
I'm okay with it. Like I'm saying, even if it was for some, I was on the box of some anything,
Crayons.
or like anal fistures or whatever it is. Like I was a brand ambassador. I'm okay. It's fine. Like anything that's sort of embarrassing. I'm a little bit more giving that way. Like if it was incontinence or some sort of pile related sort of thing, like if they put fistula related
That's a
thing.
illness.
Even
yeah.
if I was the fistula, like if I have to like just stick my head out and just be the fistula, I would do it. But
Arey, we saw you.
We saw you were that fistula, na, coming out of that. We saw you. I don't have.
I
that.
didn't agree. I
Yeah.
didn't agree to this. You don't know who to call also.
You don't, because
Who
there's no
made-
number. There's no number to call unless you call that fistula, that pile, which is. I mean, I don't know why, but in most trains you have for piles contact, and then you
But
have a
that
number.
guy will say, "Sir, we got your photo from this photographer."
He just sold it to us for ₹700. We
Yeah.
used it. You're the fistula face now. The face of fistulas.
But you don't like. It could be nuclear bombs. It could be in anything.
It could be anything.
Are you a tax evader? They have used your photo. Now you don't like this couple. They don't know. Maybe they themselves can be in the same rest stop, walking out of the toilet. Ye kya hai?
No, that's what I'm saying, that consent is very important.
Consent.
Because I don't mind doing any of these
Yeah.
if I've been paid and it has my consent.
I think abroad they check with you.
They'd have to. Because if you can't use it for any product randomly, you
Yeah.
have to be okay with being the face or endorsing that thing or being
Yeah.
signage.
Yeah.
Like here, you are the sign.
Yeah. And it could be anything. It could be political. Ready for war.
Yeah. Sign up.
Yeah.
Let's kill him. I mean, I don't know what it could be.
Anything. Visit China. You could be, but it could be a photo.
Signage is a big problem. It's a big problem. I like what our producer Avdut had brought up, that a lot of the male female now is very difficult to tell also.
Yeah.
Now what is the male toilet, the female toilet, because they've stopped using that simple sign.
Simple sign is known. People want to be clever.
Yeah.
So the simple cutout of man, woman is no longer used.
Yeah.
Every restaurant owner says, do something clever. Restaurant, our producer went to, they did something clever. For male, they had, I think, someone famous, George Washington or something.
It was an SBI branch
SBI branch, he's mentioned, Ahmedabad.
in a small town somewhere, not Ahmedabad, but wherever. Huh.
Yeah. So they used George Washington, who's male looking. And for female, they used Mozart in a wig. Because the guy who printed it out must have said, ye to ladki lag raha hai. You know? Now, in those cases, you can't ask for consent. Because do you think someone sat Mozart down in 1750 and said, sir, I'm making this portrait. One day,
At an
you'll
SBI
be
branch,
in a toilet in
you'll be the
2025.
face of the.
You're okay with being a woman in a toilet in Ahmedabad? You know, like some things are beyond consent.
Yeah. And I have to say that after my death, I don't really care that
Yeah.
much because, like,
But one customer, astute customer in Ahmedabad, will go up, catch this manager by the hair, pull him and say, ये लड़की है, ये लड़की है, Mozart है ये.
great classical composer,
आदमी था.
change the sign. ऐसा कुछ करेंगे.
So, लड़की दिखता है. You know, so ये क्या दो लड़का का टॉयलेट है? You know, then it becomes what kind of toilet is it? Is it two gents? You know, two separate. Where is the ladies then?
Or is that only for musically inclined gentlemen?
Yeah. People who are good. Then that's actually a very deep.
That's a very deep thing. So one toilet is only for politically inclined people,
Yeah.
and one is for musically inclined.
Violin बजाना आता है? इस पे जाओ.
तो फिर-
Yeah. Then it gets into a very esoteric kind of thing.
no, but that's not the they were going.
Because I don't think they're clear. That level
No,
of
it
it.
does not.
He just thought that this looks like a woman.
Correct.
But I've been to toilets where they've used abstract.
In Bombay, na, they were
Many-
very stylish. They tried to be very stylish.
There's one restaurant I went to in Andheri where they didn't have male, female. They had a semicolon and colon. Now, what do I do?
Did it have anything to do with
And
the colon?
they also didn't know which one was the gents and ladies.
The people who were
Yeah.
working there.
Yeah. They said, कहीं भी चले जाओ सर.
जाओ. आपका कोलन है, हाँ, इनका भी कोलन है, दोनों का कोलन है ना, सेमी है या फुल, आप जाओ.
Punctuation based gender है. आराम से चले जाओ. Kunal, I have a conundrum. My mother recently went on a group holiday. It was her and 6 other women over 70, old people, and they had a tour guide.
Right.
And because they were hassling the tour guide so much, because older women are very demanding, older retired women traveling on their own, many of them husbands have passed away. So they're like, we don't like this restaurant, the view is not nice, the food is bad, you know, your driver is bad, this, that, constantly. That tour guide got a heart attack. Right? He was fine. But he got a heart attack. Now, I've noticed that the hardest job in India, hardest, and we've talked about parents traveling with other ladies, etc. And also the ladies fought with each other. It's standard practice.
Normal.
You know, they didn't get along, whatever. They were sharing rooms. Then they, you know, this lady, she's on the phone all the time. She's not educated. All that happened. And the tour guide must have got a heart attack. Now, my conundrum is, the hardest job in India is being a tour guide for old ladies. Has to be. Should there not be any tour guide, team leader for group holidays of old women in India? Because you will die. But if there is this job, how can this person handle a group of old women? Because they'll never be happy. And this is a pan-India thing.
I think that the tour guide in these cases have got it completely wrong. Because they are trying to win a battle that they can't win. It's an unwinnable battle. You're never going to be able to provide anything that's good enough, show them anything that's good enough. You're going
Please
to have
look
to
at this beautiful mountain. It's gorgeous.
change the mountain. I don't like the color. I mean, whatever it is, you're not going to be able to
We
win.
left too late.
So what I think is that the tour guide is looking to control elderly women. What he needs to understand is that they want somebody to control. And
Because their children are not there.
children are not there. they don't have anyone to download on. They need
A
someone.
son. They need a
a son or a daughter or whatever it is. They need someone to
Shout at.
and someone to control and make them see the light.
Yeah.
They need a broken project.
Yeah.
The project is not to see the sights.
Yeah.
The project is to solve a person.
Yeah.
So you have to go in as a tour guide, as an unsolved person.
Yeah.
And you have to be very receptive.
Yeah.
Even though you're kind of, guiding them through this trip, you need to be malleable enough.
Yeah. Auntie, what do you want? What do you want, Auntie?
No, in fact, they should be asking you what you want. Beta, can I get you anything? That should be.
So you come in broken.
You come in broken.
Yeah. Auntie, I have some loose suggestions.
I'm just very unwell, but I'm here.
Have
Just
some
try
soup.
to have some soup. I'll have soup. I don't like tomato, but so I'm saying you get into that. Don't worry, we'll organize something else.
They want to be mothers.
They want to be someone who can take control. You know what I'm saying? He came, he was suffering.
Yeah.
Then he breaks his leg.
Yeah.
He still continues. you know. But we helped him and we basically took him through the thing.
Yeah.
They want to guide someone else. They don't want a guide.
You know, our tour guide, when we found him, he had a heart attack.
In fact, he had forgotten most of his clothes. He didn't have his clothes. And his passport and his his licenses were not in place. Poor fellow, because he was crying what happened with his wife and his children.
Yeah.
And it's a very long story. So they want all this. So then
They want a son, actually.
or whatever. They want a project.
Yeah.
So you give them that.
Yeah.
And then they'll take control of that guy and guide him through this guide, this tour.
So you have to show up there broken. Because
Broken.
I've seen tour guides, group tour leaders in many countries of the world. It's usually a guy who's got a backpack and a flag. Flag is follow me.
This way.
But that guy, every part of the world I've seen him is broken.
Yeah.
Broken. Because if it's a Gujarati tour group, they've destroyed him.
He's finished.
Because apparently there was one group of old women that went to Korea from Bombay. And they had a Korean tour guide. And his only request was, please speak slowly, because in this culture in Korea, everybody speaks at a certain volume. And the ladies were like, shut up! And all this. By the end of it, he was eating khakra. So he was broken. They broke him.
Yeah.
So any group of Indian women will break you. You're saying show up broken.
Show up broken.
Yeah.
Come pre-broken.
Hello,
be
ma'am.
ready. Hello, ma'am.
Welcome.
Yeah.
What happened to you?
What happened?
Nothing, ma'am. It's fine.
It's fine.
I
It's
lost my
fine.
job.
My wife just left me.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they've got a nice project. Oh, beta,
Yeah.
don't worry. We'll
So they
sort it
want
out.
to mother, actually.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah.
want a project.
Yeah. Excellent solution. I know this is a very toilet-based episode, this one, but we have a listener conundrum that we can't avoid.
We can't. And it's from our friend Nipun Prabhakar. And he brings up an older conundrum of ours. He's been listening to our show for some years now. And it was he's related to one of the favorite conundrums from the
soap
past.
conundrum.
Radhika's soap conundrum. And for our listeners, we'll put a link in the thing to...
It had to do with sharing soap space when a couple move in.
And how soaps get moved out of the bathroom and how it displaces the person who's living there's soap. And it was
And a
very
metaphor
beautiful-
for the relationship.
and life and all of that. Beautiful conundrum. But he, in fact, was the guy who had moved that soap.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he was the guy who happened to come into...
But so the original conundrum then had come in from Radhika.
Had come in from Radhika.
And this is Radhika's partner writing
He's
in.
the soap mover.
All these years later.
Correct. So
we
now
know it's you.
It's you now,
Yeah.
Nipun. So this is his conundrum that he was staying in a Jaipur hostel and he was with a shared toilet situation. And when he stepped into the toilet, he found that it was a mess. It was a huge mess. But he finished what he had to do, and when he was leaving, the mess was still a mess. He couldn't really do anything about it. But when he was about to leave, he realized that the next person who was already waiting, because it was a shared toilet situation, would think that the mess was his mess.
So they met.
They would have met at the door, right? And this mess was not even created by him. So
No.
suddenly I felt responsible for something I didn't even do. And
We've
this
all
made
been
me-
there.
Yeah, and this made me think in life we sometimes get stuck with problems we didn't create, but how we handle those unexpected challenges is what truly defines us.
He was more philosophical approach
kind
here.
of this.
Yeah.
This has happened, I think, to everyone where you step into a toilet, whether it's on an airplane or a public toilet or a restaurant sometimes.
Yeah.
Where you step in and it's just it's a mess.
Standard Air India problem,
Hmm.
because long flights, I think by halfway through the journey, a toilet is a mess.
Right.
Right? And you'll walk in. There are 2-3 ways to do this, right? One is to deny. Like once you leave that toilet, there'll be somebody there. Be like, it's a mess in there. Huh?
Just warning you.
I couldn't even use it. So then you're hands off.
Absolved.
Like, I am an independent citizen. Then there's the sort of citizen who starts cleaning.
Who
I
can't-
don't know who started this war, but I'll finish it.
Because he or she can't be remembered as the person
The last
last person who left that.
Yeah.
And when they're seen,
Yeah.
they don't want to be exposed as a person who created a mess.
Correct.
So they'll end up cleaning it
Cleaning the full thing.
to make it a little bit presentable when they leave.
And their conscience is clear.
Yeah.
That person is clean mind.
Right.
Because then they come out, the toilet is clean.
Right.
So
And then
the
you have the other type who will go and say, this is such a mess. Fuck it, I'll just mess it up more and leave.
Yeah.
Because it's already a mess.
Yeah.
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
So I'll just whatever, I'll just do my thing and I'm
Yeah.
out of here.
And that person will avoid eye contact
They just avoid eye contact and they
and
just
doesn't
leave.
even care about the next person.
Doesn't give a shit.
And if that next person thinks this is a person that just
So
uses
late,
the toilet,
so-
I don't
so
care.
late.
He's, I don't eat off him.
Yeah.
I don't know him. Then there's the sort of person like me who will come out of the toilet, not admit that it's a mess in there, not have the courage to say anything to the person, but hope their seat is so far away that they will never be found on the flight. That just go and just hope that there's
Just leave.
yeah. And the worst thing for a person like that, the fourth example, is making eye contact with the toilet later.
Yeah. Or just finding that person out and then
Yeah.
giving him dirty looks.
Yeah.
Or she.
Because in the person who's scared of this confrontation, the worst case scenario that we're all afraid of is what? The person who'll use the toilet after you will say, what have you done? And then it will be like that Shaggy song, it wasn't me. So that is what you are trying to avoid.
Right.
I want to know how many people do you think the next person in line has called out the person before? You think it's a substantial number? I think it's higher abroad.
I think that a lot of people
It
may
varies culture to culture.
they may not call the person out, but they'll definitely, you'll see them staring, you'll see them looking. They might whisper something to someone else. This guy left a complete mess in the toilet. It's like, it's fucked. So I'm saying then you're looking at them and you can see that
A
they're
group
talking.
is forming.
A group is forming
Against you.
Against you. Like it's a small this thing. Or if it's in a restaurant also, there'll be a table. Then they'll look over to you at your table and say, that fucking so and then you're looking over at their table and saying,
And then you're thinking, do I go and tell them
"Then
it wasn't me?
It wasn't me. I
Yeah.
didn't do it." So then your whole reputation is down the toilet, so to speak.
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
you're completely you're
I think it's culture related. We are a culture of, if we suppress it, it'll go away. Right? Like if we hide it, if we don't confront,
yeah.
it'll go away.
I think that this is actually for me. This is a much larger metaphor for life.
Life, yeah.
And I
Whose
think
debts are you inheriting?
whose debts are you inheriting? Whose mess are you cleaning up? And are you cleaning it up or are you just adding to it?
Yeah.
And I think it's a situation actually of the whole planet.
Yeah.
Because like the generation before us is telling us, listen, it wasn't me, huh? Like
Not me.
we didn't do this, and this
I
is
meant
not-
well, huh?
I didn't shit all over the planet, huh? It was
But you didn't clean it up, huh?
but you didn't clean it.
That's
I'm
fine.
like, so now I'm over here, and now I'm the
Why
guy.
did the guy before me clean it?
Yeah, so now I'm the guy who's standing at the door looking at my children, and I'm looking at my daughter, I'm looking at my son,
And
I'm
they're
looking
like,
at
why'd
them,
you shit all
and
over
they're
the
like,
place?
what the fuck did you do to this? And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, it wasn't.
I'm just a
It was
user.
my dad. My
Yeah.
dad and mom, they really fucked
they're
up.
not here, so-
But so you're just going to leave the toilet? I'm like, no, but I didn't create this shit.
Yeah.
I think so. Basically, every generation is walking out of the toilet,
Yeah.
denying and not
Yeah.
cleaning
Yeah.
up. And we're
And
having
some
to face
cultures
the
are
next
better
generation.
with, like, Americans are better with direct talk.
Yeah. So
Right, so
fuck
they
it,
cover-
you clean it up. It'll be
Yeah.
like that.
So why'd you do that, man? I didn't do it. Like,
Yeah.
but I think it's good to get it out of the system.
Correct.
I think what happens in our culture a lot is nothing is said.
Yeah.
Some of this happens.
Yeah. And it's also intertwined with guilt and we will lift the burden and we will this thing and we don't
And
want
also, so much is said between these people without saying it.
to. Yeah.
Like, this guy avoids eye contact. Just by
Yeah.
not saying it, the other guy knows, oh, it's a mess in
It's
there.
a mess.
He
Yeah.
goes in there, it's worse than he imagines, right? There's a dead dog and all. Like, it's
Right.
awful. And he uses it, then he'll also walk past this guy and they'll make eye contact. And a lot is said. Why you shoot all over this? I don't know. The guy before me shot all over. No, it was you. Wasn't me. All this happens.
It all
But
happens
without words.
in,
Without
in,
words.
in about 3.5 seconds.
Yeah.
Pal, I had one very short conundrum,
Yes,
very quick
yes.
one. We just want to discuss because
Yeah.
and it came out of that Kunal Kamra event that happened, and there was some breaking of that habitat.
They broke
center.
down a comedy club.
Comedy
Yeah,
club.
yeah.
But I noticed that the guy who was the leader of the pack had he had this luscious kind of colored hair. Wavy, and I think it was mehendi or gold. I don't know what, but it was this colored. And then he started getting a lot of attention after that.
Yes.
He was some sort of like leader or something like that. But it became a more personality thing because people immediately got that colored hair guy, the guy who has that little bit of like color.
He's
and all
become
that
quite
stuff.
famous, the
Famous.
leader of the pack.
But I feel that to create, especially I think it's happened over quite a long period of time now, is to create a persona.
Yeah.
Or to create a sort of public sort of figure and something that sticks in people's minds. I feel hair plays a very important
Very
role.
important. I mean, let's look at all the great figures of history.
Yeah.
Einstein.
Einstein.
If Einstein just had a normal haircut,
I mean, if he just came like this, like
No
normal,
one-
this thing, I don't think it
the
would have
atom
the
bomb
same-
would not be built.
I mean, I don't think people would have
You
that
must
same.
look like, I am a scientist. I have no time to comb my hair, boss.
Correct.
I have no time.
And maybe he did, but then he uncombed it for when he was giving.
Because he
this.
went for a meeting as
Yeah.
Einstein with regular hair. No one took him
No one
seriously.
took him seriously.
The great Rabindranath Tagore,
Tagore, the
I
beard
think
and
it
the-
adds.
Yeah.
Like if he just walked into a place clean shaven with glasses saying, I've written Gitanjali, they're like, leave it here, we'll read
We'll
it.
read it and we'll tell you.
Yeah. But he walks in, Kobi Guru. He stands up. People
Yeah.
stand up. Stalin,
Stalin, what hair?
Moustache.
Moustache and that.
yeah, you take him seriously. Kim Jong Il,
Yeah.
nice
Again,
sort of
similar
thing.
sort of
Lenin,
thing. Lenin.
look, Hitler,
I mean, look
of
at
course.
Indira Gandhi.
The
That
waft of
that waft
white
of
hair.
white
Yeah.
streak in her hair.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
That sort of like
Yeah.
this thing that he just like
Trump
messes with.
hair gets talked
Trump,
about.
I mean, the hair
Yeah.
goes,
Prime Minister Modi, head
Modi,
of luscious hair.
and then he had that beard,
yeah.
and then now it's the trimmed, more groomed thing. But again, you can easily draw these people with Hitler.
Hitler,
I mean,
very specific
Very
hair.
this thing hair.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such an important thing.
Yeah. I remember if you look at photos of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi,
Yes.
as the lawyer, regular looking guy. But I don't know if that guy would have been called the Mahatma.
Yeah.
For the Mahatma, you need that look.
Yeah.
The thing and the white, and it all goes with the.
He lived that life. Fair
He did,
enough.
of course.
But
But the look also helped.
I think, yeah.
I think depending on what you want to be.
So, what my question was should I get into some sort of hair kind of thing?
It's who you want to be. There's no conundrum here. You're
No,
spot on.
I'm just saying that I think that it's time for us. And I think
Yeah.
that we play it very much down the center.
Yeah.
You don't do anything with your hair. You just
I'm
cut
balding.
it, you're
Yeah.
balding, and then, but there's no look. Like suddenly you could have that, Dilbert sort of thing if you wanted
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I could do something with it.
Yeah.
I have some hair. I can do something with it. It'll create some sort of persona.
But I
some
think
character.
there's a line between great men who have interesting hair versus men like us who are just
Average
playing
men.
with their hair,
Yeah.
hoping to be great.
And then because I think that you can't only depend on the hair, is that the point you're making? I think that you
Because there's
can.
a
I think
guy-
that there is some relation where the hair can do the heavy lifting.
I think that goon who broke the comedy place
Hmm.
also has interesting hair, which helps him being a
Correct.
goon. But I think if he didn't have the other thing, he'd just be a guy who plays with his hair, which has limiting career growth.
So you're saying you need
Because
both.
I know a lot of crazy people who have crazy hair,
Yeah.
but not all of them are Gandhi or Beethoven or Tagore.
That's true. And also, we're disregarding a whole bunch of people with normal hair who are also legends.
Successful. Say
But
Steve
legends.
Jobs,
Steve
Bill
Jobs.
Gates, you know.
Yeah.
Now, if
Normal hair.
normal hair. I guess Jeff Bezos, I think, shaped his head because
That's more like a mini-me kind of look. That's
Yeah.
like a international
we should talk
villain.
about villains and baldness. That is a thing.
You're saying that there's a direct relationship between evilness and hair loss.
Dr. Evil,
Doctor
Shakal,
Shakal.
Mogambo, for example.
Mogambo had full head
Had
hair.
interesting hair.
He had golden curly
I
hair.
think in Bollywood understood this because they gave their heroes and villains hair-based things.
Of course. I mean,
Yeah.
Gulshan Grover's whole career is revolved
Mohawk.
around many things.
Yeah. So you can't be a villain. You can't just be a guy who's saying, "मैं villain हूँ."
And this normal side
normal
parting.
The first thing, if you're cast as a villain, is the hairstylist comes in and says, "Sir, इसको कुछ villainous करते हैं." I don't know what villainous hair would be. Shakal from the great Bollywood film Shan, one of my favorite villains, completely bald. So I think that there's a correlation between full baldness and villainy.
That's true.
Completely bald people, Kojak, Dr. No, the old villains were fully bald. I think there's something that leans towards thing. They can be nice also, but mostly they're villains.
Villain.
Yeah.
But I think I need to work on my hair a
Yeah,
little bit. So
yeah.
if people have any recommendations for
What
what style,
Kunaal
what could be an iconic style to go with?
Yeah.
I'd really like to know.
Yeah. Mullet?
Because I was thinking curlers, like something that's a little curly, because
Yeah.
I've noticed that a lot of, like, just curl it up a little bit and have a nice curly mop.
Yeah.
You
My issue is if you're a middle-aged man who's bald, obviously people will be like, "Oh, look at so and so." Typically, the examples are commentators. Look at Harsha Bhogle. Look at the great comedian Jimmy Carr. They've got hair weaving done, and they're doing very well in life. The thing is that it's always what you're thinking about when you meet that person.
The first thing.
First thing. If I ever ran into Harsha Bhogle,
You wouldn't
or
pull on his hair.
I wouldn't pull on his hair. That would be mean and
Right.
illegal also.
Right.
Because you can't. That's assault.
And rude.
I mean, the first
Not
thing.
a
you need
nice
to-
meeting. Hi,
And-
Harsha. Like,
and also, the point is, he's done so much.
correct.
Such a
So
body
much
of work,
joy.
such great commentary.
Yeah.
The first thing you don't want to be like, that's crazy.
That's insane.
Chances are we may even have him as a guest. That
Right.
would be wrong of us to do. And Donald Trump, I think Jimmy Fallon pulled his hair.
He did.
Yeah. I think that's not the thing, but it's not something you wouldn't not think about.
Yeah, it'd be going on in your head. You'd want to pull it.
So good luck with your hair.
I'll try something new.
Yeah, but why not focus on your body anyway? That's a boring option.
It's a, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've tried that.
Yeah.
Like doing a podcast and, acting. It's not, I
too
think,
late.
I think it's the hair is going to be the next.
Hair is the answer.
Hair is the way.
And the thing is that then, if you go into a toilet
Hmm.
and it's a mess and you come out, you make eye contact, people may not recognize you. In which
or,
case, you
or
might
I'll
have to
be
carry.
super recognizable. And
Yeah.
it'd be like that fucking bandana wearing Kunal Roy Kapur.
I
messed up the
remember him.
toilet.
I
Yeah.
saw him on an adult diaper ad on the Bombay Pune Express.
Correct.
This has been our last week.
This has.
Bye.
Bye.